Hi, and welcome back to my channel. This is Christiana, and I wanted to talk to you today about migraines, headaches and migraines. Mostly migraines because they are the more severe of the two. They are similar, but they are not the same. So a little bit about my journey with headaches and leading into migraines. When I was a young girl growing up in the 70s, my father smoked cigarettes. And I remember just anytime that I was in the same environment with him, the smell of his cigarette smoke just made my eyes water. It was a difficult odor for me to contend with, even at a very young age. And it smelled awful, and it permeated clothing as well as upholstery, furniture, bed linens, you name it. Not to mention, back in the 70s and the 80s, we had television screens with a glass screen on it, and after my father would smoke for a week or two, I would take a bottle of Windex and paper towels and wipe the screen of the TV off, and it would always just have this brown tinge to it, a residue that was left on the television screen. So it was floating through the air in the atmosphere, and you're breathing it. It is depositing itself onto furniture, appliances, what have you. So as a young girl, I dealt with terrible headaches, and one of the main triggers was my father's cigarette smoke. One of the places where I would have the most difficulty was sitting in the back seat of the car. So my father was driving, my mother was in the front seat, the passenger front seat. I was sitting behind my father, and my sister was sitting to my right. So my sister was sitting behind my mother, and it was just horrendous, the cigarette smoke that was filling up the back seat of the car. And so my father would drop the window maybe this much, about a half an inch or so, and he would just kind of have the cigarette up here while he was driving, and the smoke would go out the window, but I also had, all the windows were down about a half an inch, and the smoke just sort of came right back into the car. And I just remember holding my breath as often as I possibly could in the car until he would finish that cigarette, and he would wait maybe 10-15 minutes before he would light another one. So it was very difficult growing up with that, and having the kind of headaches that I was having for a child. Very severe, very intense, and they were located in different parts of my head. Mostly in the temple area. I could just feel my heartbeat in the temple area of my face. A lot of tension, neck tension, up here in the back, the occipital nerve where your thumbs can sort of just go into a groove back there. Press on that always hurts. Eyebrows, there are a number of pressure points in the eyebrows, as well as in along the face, in the nasal cavities through the face. And I would take my pencil eraser when I was in school and just sit and just press on some of these pressure points, and they always hurt. They still hurt to this day. So what to do about that? Well, I have some notes. I'm going to try not to put my glasses on to read these. So my headaches have always been there. My headaches will always remain headaches. But once I got a little older, moved into my 20s, I was experiencing a different type of headache. It was much more severe than what I was experiencing as a child. And I was finding that these headaches were originating behind my left eye, always. And didn't really know what they were. I just thought that, maybe as I'm getting older, life is more complicated, more difficult, stress, lack of sleep, what have you, maybe even dietary. I didn't know what to do about these headaches. They were just awful. Certain sounds would bother me. Lighting, fluorescent lighting in particular, at work, because fluorescent lighting, it can pulsate at a very high frequency, and so I can sense it when I'm in a location that has fluorescent lighting. It's very difficult for me to be around it. So I always had a bit of a precursor to my migraines. It's a little bit of a warning that, hey, you're headed for a migraine. And what happens is that behind my left eye, where it originates, my left eye will tear. Not dramatically, but it will tear all day long for about 3 days. And on day 3 or 4, the onset of the migraine begins. So, basically what I do is, you have to forgive me, I'm still looking at my notes. I have determined, just with talking with other people that have migraine issues, is that for me personally, one of the common denominators, and this is just for me, is stress. Stress and lack of sleep will contribute greatly to my migraines. So when I recognize that my eye is tearing, I know that it's coming. So what I can do to sort of cut it off at the pass is try to alleviate my stress if I can for that particular time, whatever it might be, and to try to go to bed a little earlier, try to get some more rest, because I know that those are the things that will trigger a migraine for me. I haven't really had any issues as far as food, eliminating any types of food. I do follow a fairly regimented vegan diet, and I mean, I do have a cheat day here and there, but I cannot necessarily blame any kind of a food allergy or food sensitivity for my migraines. I have to cheat. So with the lack of sleep, we have blackout curtains in the bedroom, and that helps tremendously with blocking out daylight and intense sunlight from coming into the room. Having a dark atmosphere really does help. It helps relax me, and it helps me fall asleep, and rest really is a key factor in controlling the frequency that I experience my migraines. Another thing that I do also that helps with keeping the migraines at bay is consuming enough water. Keeping myself hydrated also can help greatly in keeping those migraines at bay and lessening the frequency of them. The other thing is this. BC powder. Tried and true. Now this product has been around a very long time. Now if you are allergic to aspirin, please stay away from this, because this is 100% aspirin. In fact, it is this is a very high dosage of aspirin. Why am I not finding this here? It's a combination of aspirin and caffeine. 800 in this little packet, 845 milligrams of aspirin, powdered aspirin, and 55 milligrams of caffeine. And so what the caffeine does is so when you have a headache or a migraine, the blood vessels constrict, okay? And so that does not help. It does contribute to the pain that a headache and a migraine can produce. So the aspirin in conjunction with the caffeine, this combination is like a miracle. It's like magic for me. And I'll usually, it's a little bitter. You can take it in water, but then I would just have a few crackers or something to have in your stomach afterwards. I like to take it in juice, and I have to shake it up very, very well and quickly and just knock it back. All the instructions are on the box as to how to mix it. You could probably just about put it in anything, but because it's powdered, it enters your system so much more efficiently than swallowing a tablet or a capsule. And so if you're allergic to aspirin, if you can take ibuprofen or what else is out there? Tylenol. I don't know, for a migraine, this just happens to work for me. Why, I'm not really sure, but this is just, it's pretty fantastic for me. It'll work on it almost immediately. Within 10 or 15 minutes of my taking this, gone. Literally, it just helps relax me. I don't like to take things like this, but when it comes to trying to find some relief for the migraines that I have, BC powder works. So with my migraines, I also have auras that accompany my migraines. So they have what's called ocular migraines or migraines with aura, and it's a fantastic light show of like prismatic colors and in zigzag formation, and for me it's like lightning in a zigzag formation, and it'll start out here and it comes in like stages down here, and then it goes back up here and resets and continues this way. And it's lots of bright lights. And I also have in my lower left peripheral vision here is a black blind spot. And over time it has increased in size, and I have drawn some photographs because my eye doctor wanted to see. I didn't draw a photograph. I drew a picture. Neat trick. So I drew a picture, and it was a color picture, and of the very most common aura that I happen to experience. And I also experienced a second aura with black and orange, and that one only happened a few times, but typically it's bright white lights, jagged, geometric, sharp edges, and a black spot. So if I can figure it out, I will insert pictures somewhere in this video for you so that you can see what I experience when I have migraine with aura. And when was the first time that I experienced this? Well, it was probably 1998, 1999. I was at work, and I had very early morning hours, just as I do now. I think I had to be at work at 4. I was experiencing a tremendous amount of stress at the time, and I also was not sleeping well and not sleeping enough. So that combination was the perfect environment for the aura to start. And that's when it happened for me, was in the late 90s was my first time. And then it actually subsided, and I went probably 10 years, maybe more, without ever having one of those episodes again. And then sure enough, it popped up again. And so basically, when you have just the aura and no pain, you're having a migraine. I'm having a migraine when that happens to me. So it's just a migraine without pain. So many people who have migraines that are debilitating, they're missing days of work and so on, they're also experiencing the light show most of the time. So they have the light show and pain. For me, I have the light show and no pain, which means I'm having a migraine at that moment, or I have the migraine with pain and no aura. So my situation might not really be that rare. There may be someone else out there that has the same situation that I do, but that's migraine with aura for me. And in the beginning, when I experienced these in the 90s, they would last a good 20 minutes, 24, 25 minutes. And if it was happening while I was driving, I'd have to pull over and wait for the show to end before I could continue on down the road. So as of right now, I am still experiencing migraines. The aura, it comes and goes. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. But if you are experiencing this, I understand what you're going through. If you are not allergic to aspirin, I highly recommend this. I have tried the injectables and other tablets and so on from my neurologist that I had in Florida, and really none of that worked for me. So I'd rather stay with something that's much less expensive, that works, and it's 2 ingredients. And for me, it's been proven. This company's been around a long time. This product has been around a long time, and I can't recommend it enough. So I'm gonna cut this off now because I've talked a little longer than I wanted to, as usual. Nothing new there. So be well, and if this video helped you or gave you some information that was pertinent to you, or maybe someone that you happen to know that also experiences this. Please share the video, like it, and I'm fairly new here on YouTube, so I would really enjoy having a new subscriber. All right, so I will be back with another video sometime soon. All right, thank you, take care.